Hello, welcome to ThePrint. Today we are joined by Sasikanth Senthil, Congress MP from Thiruvallur. Welcome to ThePrint, Sasikanth. So first, actually, before we have so much to discuss, we have the constitution amendment bills that caused a lot of uproar in the parliament yesterday. We have the Vote Chori campaign that is making a lot of buzz across the country. But first up, I want to ask you, how has the first year being an MP been for you, and especially the transition from being an IAS officer to now an MP? What have been the big learnings of the last 1 year for you?
It's been great. It's a very personally, it's a very satisfying thing for me, especially having a constituency and being in touch with people day in and day out is really, for me, it's a very big mojo. So I like the process, and also uh, trying to voice out in this political situation adds to the times that we are living in, makes it more interesting. So I am very happy about the whole process, and also getting involved in parties work and organizational work also keeps me. So it's a very good transition, and I'm extremely happy about my decision.
Your first impressions of the constitution amendment bills yesterday that were tabled in the parliament, which of course for our viewers who would already know, they basically allow for a PM, for the PM, for chief ministers and ministers to be asked to leave office if they're in custody beyond 30 days instead of after they're convicted. So obviously this has caused a lot of uproar, especially from the opposition, from the Congress. uh, your first impressions and your response to the one line of defense of the government, which is that if there are serious charges against a minister, it obviously causes a deficit in governance, and it causes, if the minister is behind bars for more than 30 days, it causes some kind of governance deficit, and also a deficit of morality. So your response to that?
So Sanya, it's like, I'm sure you had to explain what the amendment bill was, and half of our viewers would not even know what it is. That's the kind of situation we are in. We bring a constitutional bill which was, we came to know that it is going to be introduced the previous evening. We never got to see a copy of it, and it was introduced in the parliament in the morning. And the the idea that we will bring an amendment to the constitution without anybody even having to look at it is the idea that we are questioning. Let's not even go into the merits of it. I'll come to the merits later. But this is something fundamentally problematic to a democracy. This kind of attitude and behavior we had seen in the previous farm bills, previous bills. This government has brought in huge legislations, not giving an opportunity to the legislators. Forget the legislators, even common public, even the intelligentsia, even people who are in the know-how of things, they don't get to see it, and it gets introduced, and then it will be just pushed into some committee, then it will be just passed without deliberation and discussion. Now this is the primary thing that shocks me, that a government is continuously doing this, and as citizens of this country we are not able to question it, and we're not questioning it enough. Secondly, it has always been the right wing's methodology or modus operandi to bring something which is a half truth, and then say, this is what these people are opposing, and then attribute a kind of attitude to the opposition. And this is not BJP, it is the right wing all over the world. Now simply I would explain this by what happened inside the parliament. When our leader KC Venugopalji rose up and asked the question to the home minister, okay, you are bringing this, you yourself were arrested when you were in Gujarat home minister, so what would you say about that? Then he stood up and replied that I resigned. When I got arrested, I resigned. Now my question is, if you have the moral authority to resign, moral know how to resign, why would you expect others will not resign if they get arrested? Do you think they are morally lesser than you, lesser beings than you? Is that an answer to that question? So there is a reason to bring in a legislation, right? And quoting all these moral thought processes for that legislation is not at all. First of all, The way in which it was brought, without any time for anybody to look into it, discuss it, that for me is, it beats me when you bring
But
in a
also,
constitutional
given
amendment.
that it's a constitution amendment bill, it requires two-thirds majority for it to be passed, which they don't have. So, what do you think is possibly the aim of bringing this right now, given that they don't have that two-thirds majority in
So,
parliament?
I think there is a certain kind of messaging being sent in such bills. One is to, what we have been seeing, how they have been threatening the opposition, of people who don't liaison with them, people who don't listen to them, especially before elections, to the rank of CMs. When was the last time we saw central government raiding state government secretariats, houses of chief ministers, houses of ministers? So this has been their entire modus operandi to arm twist people. So there is a strong messaging in what they have brought. No matter whether they intend to pass it or not, they will try to get consensus by again arm twisting many things. But they want to send a message. They want to kind of put the others on the other side of discussion and just present an image. But this is, it's like going overboard nowadays, is what I feel. Now, an introduction of a bill is a very important part of a bill. Every bill which has to be introduced, the parliament requires ample time to object the introduction, because in principle we are objecting. We are not even going into the merit. In principle of that bill we are objecting. Where is the time, and where is the space for opposition or even citizens in this country
How
to
much
even
time
come
did
on
you
board?
have to go through the
So
bill?
we
It
didn't
was
have
given
any
at
time.
night.
We didn't have that in the business. We didn't have anything. It was just told that tomorrow Amit Shah might be introducing such a bill, and the morning we see it in the business. Don't we even require time to? Don't you guys require time to see the bill, what it is? Do you know how many clauses are there inside? No. It is in this parliament session they passed the huge income tax bill without any deliberation discussion. So this has been happening to the legislation of this country. See, that is why we are questioning. We are refusing to move away from this agenda of not letting the opposition raise its voice. You can't run a parliament like this. You and we are equal in number right now. Now you can't say half of the country we don't care. So it's simply not done, and that's why we oppose this bill tooth and nail.
The other thing that has, of course, been making a lot of news for some time now, more than about 10-15 days now, is the Vote Chori campaign of the Congress. Now, one line of defense that the election commission had with regard to the allegations is that why were these allegations not made earlier, at the time when the voter lists were prepared, the drafts of the voter lists were shared? So why do you think that was not done earlier, and why now?
So see, this is again election commission's very weak argument of saying that, like, look, no, it's in a way of saying that you are also responsible for this, and I completely object to that line, because you know in as citizens and political parties, we are part of the system. I agree, but at the same time, the original responsibility and accountability of maintaining these things lie with the election commission, because election commission doesn't operate through just executive orders. They operate through a statute. There is three important statute which governs the whole process. Now, how an elector will be registered, who will give the report, and it is a quasi judicial process of adding somebody or removing somebody from the voter list. Now, imagine I am a new party. I am just started a party. You can also start a party, and you won't have that cadre to check every voter list. And would you be responsible for that mistakes? So these arguments are not expected from election commission. The best thing for election commission would be to say, to get up and say, yes, there are mistakes, we should correct it. We request every political party to support us in correcting it. That is the line that we expect. But to again and again say that we are perfect and you are wrong, what kind of argument is this in a democracy? How do you make such arguments against political parties.
There have been a lot of very experienced, even psephologists like Mr. Sanjay Kumar, who's actually at the receiving end of a lot of attacks right now. But even he has come out and said that some kind of discrepancies in voter lists are always there, and there is nothing new about this, and there is and some of these claims are exaggerated. For example, the assertion that a lot of people's house numbers, their house addresses are zero. There were stories in the newspapers later that said that a lot of people who are homeless, their houses are recorded as zero. So what would your response to these?
See, just take this example of Mahadevpura, which we had brought out. 6 lakh voters, one of the biggest constituency in Karnataka. This single constituency had 11,000 duplicates, right? I'm not talking about house names. No father name, no custodian name. There are multiple duplicate epics. All these we had listed out. Now, 40,000 houses. You mean to say in Mahadevpura do not have, people don't live in houses? They do live in houses. They do have their kata number, some identification number. Otherwise, why that field will be there? If we don't put that house number or some indication of where their house is, how would we know that person is even living in the part? So, these are all very, very bad arguments, especially when Election Commission keeps telling us that we are perfect.
But the Election Commission's response is also that the special intensive revision process is exactly to address some of these concerns of removing duplication and of removing...
True, that's after the allegation came, right? And every year, there are multiple revisions done on the voter list. Summary revisions, annual revisions, and many other things. Now, my question is, okay, now we have not gone into these arguments. Every deletion or every addition needs to happen through a proper process, which means there is a claim, which is a Form 6 or a Form 7 filed by somebody, and a report on the ground written by somebody, and that report being considered by the higher officer, then by the AERO, then by the ERO, and then into the voter list. Now, if I start asking the documents for that, will the Election Commission be able to give? Precisely, they want to cover up everything, and they went for an SIR because they know very clearly that we have started this issue. Now, if I start asking those documents, or any citizen can ask those documents, they will not be in a position to give, because what they have done is, with the support of officers and with the push of the dispensation, especially BJP related people, they have enrolled bulk people into this. I'll give you an example. During the same Karnataka election, we found out one NGO being deployed by the BJP, the corporation there, to do a household survey. When we found out what this NGO was, it was called Chilume, that NGO, and that was an RSS affiliated NGO. And they were doing household survey of who is staying where. Okay. When we caught the whole process, Election Commission came and understood that this is being done for specific deletion and addition, because they were caught. And I think News Minute ran a huge story on it. And it became a huge issue. Election Commission ordered an inquiry. Then a regional commissioner level inquiry was done. It is in the same constituency that I am talking about, Mahadevpura. And an intensive revision was done then also to eliminate all these things. Now, after the intensive revision, you expect 1 lakh people to be again, fake and duplicate people. So, how is this?
Is the party also planning a similar investigation in Varanasi? Because we've had the Congress candidate say that he lost because of vote chori in Varanasi as well to the Prime Minister. So, is this something that's
absolutely
planned?
We know which constituencies we had.
But is Varanasi one of them?
Obviously, there are many constituencies that we are looking at, especially in the elections of Haryana, Maharashtra, because we knew that the loss there was very mathematical. It was not even this wave. It was a mathematical loss where 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 votes got split and 5,000 got cut, and some of our voters were deleted. So this kind of operation has been happening institutionally. Now, election commission and many people might come and say that this has been happening in this country for some time, but never an institutional effort was done in manipulating these things. And we clearly see that that is happening. An election commission, by refusing to acknowledge these things, is only damaging its own image. Now, the same type of questions we have raised on the EVM also. And they have always said our EVM is great. I have always said our EVM is clear, as they were talking about the voter list. Now, if I kind of project this result to that, then everything is questionable. The whole process is questionable. If you can't protect one voter list, now I can understand for 1%, 2%, 5%. 1.5 lakh people in 6 lakhs is like huge.
With regard to Bihar now, what are your immediate expectations from the Election Commission? The Supreme Court has already asked them to upload the details of the deleted voters, and they have done so. So what are the
Why would you require Election Commission, Supreme Court to order the Election Commission to do this?
But now what are the expectations of the opposition with regard to?
Now, we are again pressing the Election Commission that your process has been sabotaged, either with your connivance or without. Unless you correct it, unless you do your constitutionally sworn duty of conducting fair elections.
But can you be a little more specific?
Yeah, we are pushing the Election Commission first, because that is the authority. That is the. So I saw another funny argument from Election Commission. I think it is a chief election commissioner who said that, look, these are not our officers. These are all state government officers deputed. What kind of an argument is this? When we are deputed to election commission gets full authority on us. They can dismiss us, suspend us from service. Anything can happen to any officer. If that is the responsibility Election Commission is going to take on elections, then how you and I would even should I believe BJP for the fairness of my election, or should BJP rely on Congress? What is this? So we again urge the Election Commission, now that Supreme Court has ordered, go back to your BLOs, check everything ground down to the T. Keep the political parties in the loop, and please take every political party seriously when we are alleging something is happening. You can't be acting one way to BJP and to others. That's what is something which has bothered us and which has come out with fact in this particular thing. And we will also be doing our part of finding out. But we should be listened to, right? When we bring complaints, I think around 20 odd complaints we have returned to Election Commission on these matters. Not only now, even during election. The nation is seeing that Prime Minister is openly doing a communal statement, and no notice goes to this. So now, look, now everybody is looking at the scale of the issue which is happening. But then these are all these small things when Election Commission does. It damages its image by itself. We don't have to do anything about it. But if Election Commission is not owning up and trying to do the fair electoral process, then the whole democracy is in question.
There have been some people who have said that the way the leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi, is almost threatening election commission officials, including the chief election commissioner and so on, also somehow diminishes the institutional credibility of the commission, irrespective of who occupies the office. Do you think some of these criticisms can dampen the institutional credibility in the long run as well?
I don't think. These are all, again, very weak arguments. An institution's credibility is heavily dependent on how it conducts itself. It has not been conducting well in this country, and everybody knows this. Right from the way in which it schedules the elections, to the way in which it treats political parties, and way in which it takes complaints, serious complaints like communal, incitation. These are all things which demean it much more than any other leader talking about it. They should be worried, ashamed about the way they have maintained voter list. I think that is the biggest shame on them that they should be worried about, not our leader or any leader speaking about it. These are all facts. Everybody is now going into that voter helpline and then checking and telling, this guy has 5 votes, that guy has 6 votes. So this is the level it has come to, So, and it has gone to an extent of removing all the voter lists from the website. What
I'm
kind
very
of
curious to know who's planning the ads that the Congress is making on the Vote Chori campaign.
no. So it's not only us who are doing ads or anything. You can go to the social media, any media. Now they have become a joke. Every kid is now typing and seeing and posting something. So this is an age of where information is available and everybody will ask questions. Now you can't be a public functionary, act as if I am holier than thou. The way we come, the way commissioners sit, the way we conduct press meet, all that is fine. But what about your work? So they have become a joke by themselves. And when the election commissioner comes and gives a press meet like the one that he had given the other day, no, I have never heard that kind of theatrics in an election commission's press meet. That मैं आपकी बहनों का माताओं का फोटो में इधर लगा दूं. What kind of this thing is this? When it has brought itself to that level is what I feel.
Sasikanth, it's been only a couple of years since you joined the Congress, if I'm not wrong. How do you assess Rahul Gandhi's evolution as a leader? Because in the last few years, ever since 2014, we know for a fact that when his image had really taken a beating to now, when it seems that he's taken more seriously, including by the government itself. So, how do you assess this evolution?
No, for us it was very clear. Even before the time that we joined Congress, we know Rahul Gandhi is a person who is somebody very grounded. A very good human being, grounded with the people of this country, always trying to understand what they are going through, not just from a theoretical perspective, but from a very grounded perspective, which has always been the Congress's way of political
But clearly, there
messaging.
was something that was not working earlier, which seems to have been
No,
addressed in
see,
some way.
again, it's this social media boom that has created that perspective. Other than that, he was always on the ground, always listening to people. Even even in our party, even when a karyakarta goes, he will converse with them for hours together to understand what they are going through. And that was evident when he took up that yatra of 5,000 kilometers. It is not an easy thing to walk 20
Do you think
kilometers a
that was a
day.
turning point for him?
It was a turning point for others. For him, it was his style. You can just analyze the way he has run his politics. He has always been doing that politics.
But a lot of the issues that he was trying to rake up were not. It did not seem that they were actually they had any sort of connection with people. The Rafale issue in the 2019 elections, for an example, didn't seem like it's reverberating
No, see,
at the level of national discourse at all.
Sanya, this is all about what is being voiced out. Okay, now media is the agenda setter in this country and in any country. What media picks up and sets become the agenda. The same Rahul Gandhi had fought for the tribals in Orissa. He has gone there, stayed with them, walked to Uttar Pradesh, walked to Gujarat. All that was not picked up. Maybe the agenda was not that. So now the yatra was so strong and so appealing to the people of this country that the media had to follow it and pick up. And that was the strength of what he did, and he was always doing that. But Rafael gets picked up, but the same fight that he did for the land acquisition bill didn't get picked up, right? So yatra turned or made people see what he is, because he showed it. He didn't talk about it, he showed it, and people connected to that, and then it became the agenda. And then that is why, in spite of the Ram Mandir, in spite of 400 par, is bar 400 par, whatever, we were able to push them back. Now Rahul Gandhi as a person has done this politics for a long time, and he will continue to do this politics irrespective of whether we get power or not. So that, I think, I strongly believe in that, and the country has also started seeing it.
Last year, when you just become MP, you, in a few interviews, and including an interview with ThePrint, in fact, you had mentioned that the Congress was undeniably facing some sort of organizational and leadership issues. even though ideologically it was always consistent. What were those organizational and leadership issues, and how have they been addressed now, according to you?
So, again, we have been working on this for quite some time, and like any other organization, there will be, systems which go bad, or systems which don't work anymore. So Congress as an organization also had gone through
If
these
you can give
phases.
us specific
You know,
examples.
many things. You take political lines as such right now. Even in this country, you take any political party right now, and I would even not say it's an Indian phenomenon. It is a worldwide phenomenon that the socio-democratic parties are going through a slight crisis, because they don't, we don't rely on hate, we don't rely on anger, we don't rely on all these things which catch up virally. We work on goodness, happiness, brotherhood, camaraderie. There is a way of telling that to people. There's a way of you can't tell, you have to show that to people. Maybe we lost in showing our commitment to people. And not only Congress, many other socio-democratic parties all over the world are facing this crisis. That is why right wing rise has happened
But
all over the world.
what's the one tangible intervention that you have made to
So
correct this?
for us, I'll tell you, the Congress's language is walking. The Congress's language is showing. Congress's language is not rhetoric, not big speeches. We need to stand with people in their issues. We can't be just talking about what we will do. This is something fundamental to our language. And maybe we lost that a little bit in between, and we are now coming back at it. Now, there is a way in which our communication within the organization happens. That I think also is being changed, and many other things, small things. And for us, the best part is we don't have to reinvent anything. We have to go back to what we are. So whatever has been shifted, changed.
But what do you mean by Congress language is working? Do you think the message is being communicated more effectively? What is
No,
happening?
it's very simple, Sani. I could explain it like this. If today I say there is a bomb here, and then shout loudly, probably 10 of us might run. That's how negativity perpetuates. You just have to talk loud and then use medium to. But if I have to tell somebody is good, that's not going to propagate. I need to really work on it. I need to really show that I am committed. I am a person you can trust, and I am looking for your good being, and this is what goodness is all about. So to propagate goodness, you need to really be that. Why did people walk behind Gandhi? Because it was not because he was a great speaker, because he showed what he was, right? So Congress needs to show more than speak. And then this whole yatra, our leader Rahul Gandhi showed that to the party, that look, this is what is our language. And many of us have adopted that language. Many of us have started moving around in villages, have started moving around in many other places. Our organization has started picking up this idea. So there's a fundamental difference in the way that we communicate and the way they communicate. So we believe in that communication which happens with people.
The morale of the cadres is high right now.
It's extremely high. For us, cadre is one part of our organization. The larger oppressed community, the people, we think are also our family, and they are now regaining the trust. I feel that is something which is fundamentally changing.
What is your plan with the OBC census? Now the government has, the caste census, the government has obviously announced it now. So what is the Congress's strategy with the census findings once the census is conducted and the findings?
So we are very clear that everybody needs to get a share of what this country is all about, and a long term and social equity is something which drives our philosophy. So we are for a long time we have not found out what is that share that is duly everybody needs to get. So once the caste census is done, we will be asking for many other things where equity is established.
A couple of examples.
You will see, for example, this 50% slab on reservations. On what basis? So it's like absolute legal cap put on something which, and the only reason Supreme Court gives is there is no data. So isn't it logical that when the data comes, you have to uh, give everybody the share that they owe to this for in terms of their population. So many such things, the party will of course have a say on all these things, but as a direction we will be pushing for social equity.
Quickly coming to Tamil Nadu, the last time the Congress was in power in Tamil Nadu was in 1967. Um, since then, ever since it came together with the DMK, we have seen that the Congress has really lost out electorally in the state. What are your plans of reviving the party? Because increasingly we see that the space of a national party in Tamil Nadu is we see the BJP trying to contend for it. What are the plans to revive the Congress there?
So Tamil Nadu, it's a very promising state for the Congress, and for the state, Congress is a very promising ideology also. Uh, in fact, I would say that the Tamil people are more, inclined, and they have this legacy of Kamraj. Even today, every government which comes there takes the name of Kamraj as a model of governance. So there we have lost out on things that in that time was not addressed properly. The Tamil people's emotions and sentiments about their own identity was not looked at that much. Many things, language, identity, and many things. At that point of time, I think the people who managed the leadership of Congress, couldn't catch that frame. And today we have a much clearer understanding of what our identity is and how that identity fits into the larger framework of this country. So we are now better disposed to work with the Tamil
What
people.
is that big learning that the Congress has had over the decades with regard to the Tamil identity? What was it doing wrong back then, and what has the big learning been since
So
the 60s?
when we talk about 60s, we were in the formation stage of this country. As a national party, there was a certain kind of direction which the leaders had at that time, and probably some kind of understanding about how nation should be built, which right now is not the case. Right now we understand that everybody has to respect each other. There is no one dominance over the other. That is not going to work. As long as you respect each other, and if we understand the constitution well, it is a union of states. It is not now the center over the state, right? So we have moved on to that philosophy, and Rahul Gandhi is leading that way, everywhere, wherever he goes, and people see it very clearly. So all that we have to do is again what we have to do in this whole country about staying with people staying with people in their issues, walking with them, and showing that we intend good. And the trust deficit which has happened has to be bridged. I don't have any qualms in saying that we need to develop the trust again back which people had. People had trusted
But
us.
is there space? Is there enough space for
Huge
that?
space is there. Otherwise, why would BJP try to, which is completely, Tamil Nadu is completely alien to the BJP idea of the country. So there's huge space, and I wouldn't be surprised at all in the coming days. We become a very important force to reckon with.
This whole phenomenon of bureaucrats, political motives being ascribed to them, and they obviously get magnified when a bureaucrat leaves their service and joins a political party, which is something we see happen a lot. You're, of course, one of the more successful bureaucrats to have made that transition. But what is your impression of this trend? Because we see it everywhere, and for some right reasons as well, it raises questions about the neutrality of the officer when they were serving as either an IAS or an IPS officer.
So there are two kinds to it. One, that you finish your career in bureaucracy and then you see another career in politics or other thing. That is one part. That you keep charting your career. Another thing is, like me, I wouldn't call myself a successful politician or anything. I am very ideologically committed, and I can see injustice from a long distance. That's my ideology. And when I felt there was injustice being done, I had to question it. And even in my resignation letter, I have written this, knowing very well I'm going to fight a dispensation which is going to come back at me in a very huge level. I've written the same thing, that it is not ethical for me to stay and have this thought process, which means that as long as I was there, I was not inclined towards any ideology, and as far as I am a deputy commissioner, I have to be a deputy commissioner. There's no second thought about it. But when it comes to a point where I have to question, I'll have to leave the service and question it. I can't stay inside and keep doing something which I found it was not ethical, and I resigned. And I jumped into the fight, and for the first 2-3 years it was street fight. It was NRC CAA movement, and then very lately I came into a political party thinking that we need to fight this politically, and that is the path I have taken. So I wouldn't compare that with some career oriented uh, transitions, which I am not a big fan of, because bureaucracy gives you enough. And in 60 also, if you are not able to leave power and move into nice life where you spend time with your family and friends, I don't see any great value to that. But yes, ideologically, when you are committed to something and you are moving towards something and you need to move politically, it is always better to resign and do that.
Sasikanth, thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, sir.